Pregnancy, Disability, and Women's Decisions, an 8-part series on pregnancy and pregnancy decisions. Part 5, Coping with Discrimination, the Legal System, or Mistreatment.
A lot of the women we talked to told stories about being treated badly for having a disability or for other things about themselves like their race. Discrimination exists, but it is not right. It is also not your fault if it happens to you. Connecting with others who've had similar experiences and talking to people in your support network can sometimes help. You are not alone, and you are not to blame.
I experienced a billing clerk at the hospital that was rather rude and told me having a baby isn't free, and that I was going to be paying something. What did I think this was, a free ride? Fortunately, I had great insurance, a primary and a secondary, to where I didn't have to pay out of pocket, actually. And that interaction stayed with me. I found her to be something of a racist, or in some form or fashion. She kind of treated me like a black girl in poverty and looking for a handout. Treated me like I was ignorant.
My husband and I decided to raise our son using American Sign Language and only American Sign Language. By the time he entered preschool, we had lots of concerns about, when are you going to teach him English? What's he going to do? How's he going to fit into society? But it turned out he learned English just fine and very quickly in preschool. He is now in high school with a 3.5 GPA, so I'm pretty sure everything turned out okay.
Disabled people face discriminatory attitudes about what we can and can't do all the time, and often that's framed in terms of concern about our health, and that's called concern trolling, and it happens all the time, and being pregnant is not any different. When I got pregnant for the 3rd time, I was 41 years old, and a lot of people around me thought that that was too old for me to be having a baby, that it was going to be too hard for me, and they didn't support the fact that I was having another child. One member of our family offered to pay for an abortion in front of my other kids, who were already very excited about having another baby brother. There's no reason that disabled people can't be pregnant and have children. We just need different support than other people, and don't let other people talk you out of it or say that it's too difficult. You just need to find the support you need and get it.
Many doctors, nurses, midwives, or other healthcare providers are kind and sensitive to discrimination, but others are not. We recognize that the way some providers view disability negatively, provide counseling about disability, or can make women with disabilities feel bad about themselves is a problem.
In my experience with genetic counseling, the entire purpose of the counseling was to prevent disabled babies from being born. They're looking for anything that doesn't seem normal. If they find something that doesn't look normal, then their goal is to either fix it or eliminate it. They're trying to essentially keep disabled people from being born, reduce the number of disabled people in the world. Doctors are trained this way, and these attitudes run so deep that they're invisible to them. They don't even realize that they're doing it. It's based on this underlying hatred of disability and fear of disability, and it can be very difficult if you're disabled yourself to receive care from a provider who in every interaction with you is communicating that you shouldn't exist, that somebody like you shouldn't be born. Prenatal visits are all set up around this idea of reassuring you that your baby is developing normally. And the doctor always makes it clear that their goal is to bring normal babies into the world. And that if anything about your baby is not normal, then that's something you should be worried about. And it's very hard to hear this at every visit if you know yourself that you're disabled and there are things about your brain and your body that are not normal. And it's okay to be disabled. It's okay to have a baby who's disabled. It's okay to be outside the norm. But that's not what these doctors are telling you when you're pregnant. And it's very difficult to hear this at every visit.
Not all women have this experience. Many women have a good experience with their providers, and there are good providers who do not discriminate badly in the world. If your provider is making you feel bad, it is okay to change to a new provider who does not make you feel that way. The child welfare system is another place where discrimination can sometimes happen.
I had bad experience with child welfare. I got my kids taken away from me just because I had an intellectual disability. I jumped through the hoops. It didn't matter. I just want to tell women out there not to get a court-appointed lawyer. Make sure you get a lawyer that will be on your side. Looking back, I realized that I needed help with the legal system. It also could have helped if I had shown them that I had support from family and other people in the community.
It can be confusing knowing who to go to for legal advice. Find someone you can trust if you need to talk about legal issues and child custody issues. Perhaps someone in your support circle, a family member, or a caseworker can help you find a lawyer whom you can trust. You deserve to get the help you need, and this includes help with legal issues. Unfortunately, a lot of women have experiences being abused during pregnancy.
I was being kicked around by my first two sons' father and another man that I met, and kind of abusive situation, real abusive at first, abusive situation.
I was with a violent man, and so I was living in domestic violence shelters on and off during my pregnancy. I lost my job while I was pregnant, and I didn't know what I was going to do.
The father of the baby made it harder for me to stay healthy. He would tell me I wasn't good enough. I would never be anything.
No one deserves to be abused, and being abused during pregnancy can hurt both you and your baby-to-be. This includes hitting, especially hits to the belly, slapping, choking, being forced into walls or doors, being threatened with any kind of weapon, or being forced to have sex. But it also includes non-physical abuse, such as stalking, harassment, threats about you or the baby, being called names, interfering with doctor visits or doing your job or going to school, being lied to and insulted, pressuring you to drink or do drugs, and more. Sometimes the abuser is jealous of the attention the unborn baby is getting, or he believes it is not his child. Tell your prenatal provider if you are being abused. Help is always available 24/7 by calling the Domestic Violence Hotline at 800-799-7233. You can also text the word GO, G-O, to 741-741 in order to reach the crisis text line.
The Pregnancy and Support Services for Women with Developmental Disabilities Project is supported by National Institutes of Health grant number 1R21 HD 078830. The views expressed in these videos are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the views of the NIH. The principal investigator was Mary Oshwald. Other team members included Andy Joyce, Annie Wallington, Christina Nicolaitis, Dora Raymaker, Alicia Askenazi, Kaki Marino, Marianne McCammon, Michelle Berlin, Phoenix Lomas, Sherry Osborne, and Sonia Sizemore. These videos are copyrighted to Portland State University, 2016.